Hello and welcome to Lunchtime Politics on Channels Television. I'm Millicent Walker. On the news this hour, protests and more reactions trailed the recommendations of the House of Representatives Committee on the crisis rocking the Edo State House of Assembly. And the National Assembly is planning to ensure it achieves the much talked about regularization of the budget cycle as the Senate President says the 2020 budget will be passed in December. Plus, INEC says it is working towards ensuring that the Kogi and Bayelsa elections are a success to avoid a repeat of the logistics nightmare it faced during the 2019 fall. Welcome everyone to the program. Now, if there is perhaps one of the most important commodity pressures to many Nigerians today, I guess that will be security. The challenge has dominated national discourse in the wake of that series of attacks on innocent citizens. A major criticism of the security architecture and setup is also the lack of intelligence gathering. Today, President Buhari is attending a security summit bordering on intelligence gathering on the African continent, involving different governments, security agencies and organizations who use intelligence as part of their trade. Our correspondent Gloria Mozoke is covering the event and has some insight into that event.
We're here at the 16th Ordinary Session of the Committee of Intelligence and Security Services of Africa, CSA, made up of over 50 African intelligence agencies established in 2004 here in the nation's capital. And so CSA is seeking to provide services such as sharing information to the policy-making organ of the African Union, as well as look for ways in which terrorism can be curbed and security threats across Africa. And so the last time this meeting was held was in Namibia in 2018. Essentially, the meeting talked about how to curtail foreign influence on the policy-making decisions of African governments, as well as how to equitably share resources in order to avoid conflicts. And so this conference, which is essentially talking about how to curb terrorist financing, is one the president is attending and will be hoping to get firm commitments from African countries. We understand that security is a major challenge for African countries, not only for Nigeria, but countries like Somalia and Mali. And so it is going to focus on how firm commitments can be gathered from African countries to curb this menace once and for all. From the NIA Conference Center here in Abuja, Gloria Umezuke, Channel Television News.
Thank you so much, Gloria Mozoke. Now let's take a look at some of the sights and sounds of what Benin residents woke up to this morning in the aftermath of the decision of the House of Representatives on the crisis rocking the Edo State House of Assembly. Some Edo youth, civil society organizations, they're marching through the King Square axis in the state capital in protest over the proposed closure of the Edo State House of Assembly. The protesters say they are unhappy with the decision of the National Assembly and believe the decision is wrong. Well, to the crux of that protest in Benin today, yesterday, at its plenary, the House of Representatives agreed to dissolve the Edo State House of Assembly, giving the governor of the state 1 week to issue a fresh proclamation for the constitution of the 7th House of Assembly of the state. The House reached a decision after considering a report presented to it by the ad hoc committee investigating the crisis. The House is also asking the Inspector General of Police and the Director General of the Department of State Service to shut down the Edo State House of Assembly.
Wanted to produce a speaker or the leadership of that house, and that created a crisis. Number two, Mr. Chairman, there was this issue of proclamation. The governor of Edo State has the powers to issue proclamation, and he is supposed to issue immediately after he must have assumed office. Mr. Chairman, in the case of Edo State, the proclamation came 10 days after he took office.
But there was an immediate and swift response to that decision, and it came from the Speaker of the Edo State House of Assembly, Frank Okie, is insisting that the House is protected by law and that any action to derail its peace and progress would be resisted lawfully. The Speaker is alleging that the lower chamber is only acting out the script of the national chairman of the All Progressives Congress, Adams Oshiomhole, who he describes as a major player in the crisis. His allegation is contained in a statement he released shortly after an interview with Channels Television in Benin City.
I do not know where they are, basing their power on, because the powers to take control or even legislate on the national, on the House of Assembly by the National Assembly is in Section 99, subsection 4 and 5, and it does not reflect what we have on the ground at all. Nobody can describe what is happening here as a crisis. So for anybody to think that, power tussle can shortchange and, overlap, it will be resisted.
Also, in another reaction to the comments by the Speaker of the Edo State House of Assembly, the National Chairman of the All Progressives Congress, Adams Oshiomhole, describes the allegation as untrue and a figment of the lawmaker's imagination. The statement signed by the Chief Press Secretary to the ABC Chairman, Simon Igbegbulem, says that the National Assembly lawmakers have the duty to intervene in such issues, such as the Gestapo manner of which the Edo Assembly was inaugurated. The statement from Mr. Oshiomhole's Chief Press Secretary explains that this will not be the first time the National Assembly will be intervening in matters of this nature, and that the Speaker should desist from making frivolous allegations against Mr. Oshiomhole. He maintains that no amount of blackmail and threat from lawmakers can destroy Mr. Oshiomhole's name. Also, the Senate they're also investigating the cause of the infighting in the Edo State House of Assembly, and members of the Senate Ad Hoc Committee say they have a mandate to find a solution to the issues and not apportion blame. The committee started its fact-finding mission in the state after a courtesy visit on the Edo State Governor, Mr. Godwin Bassett.
The Constitution is very clear. Within the context of this kind of crisis, it is the National Assembly that is mandated, not the House of Reps, nor the Senate. So none of these two can be exclusive to the other as far as this subject matter is concerned. But like we said, we are here on fact-finding mission, and our interest, overall interest of the National Assembly and the Senate, which we represent, is to ensure that we restore sanity, we restore stability in Edo State, so that all the people who are constitutionally mandated to serve the people and the good people of Edo State will be doing so.
Looks like there's some perspective as to the, the major legal logjam in the whole matter, the Edo State House of Assembly. I have a lawyer and the director of African Center for Parliamentary and Constitutional Studies, Mr. Emmanuel Igbegbulem. He joins us via Abuja Studios. I'd like to thank you for joining us on the program and ask what you make of the findings, recommendations of the Ad Hoc Committee of the House of Representatives on the Edo Assembly crisis.
Well, the issue is a constitutional issue, and Section 11, Section 11, subsection 4, talks about the powers of the National Assembly to intervene or take over a House of Assembly. But there are conditions basically on it, which shows if it finds out as essential service. This Edo State House of Assembly is still in session. This is one thing we must bear in mind, because the Constitution provides that when it is unable to sit, then secondly, we are a federal state, and we must bear this in mind. The federalism is anchored on the principle of non-interference. It is really shocking that House of Representatives should even query a proclamation issued by a governor of the state to inaugurate a House of Assembly. This is another issue that they should have had in mind, that they seem to have overstretched their bounds.
Who said that? On the issue of proclamation, Mr. Igbegbulem, if I may, on the issue of proclamation, they said that the governor didn't do this immediately he took office, but did it 10 days after the constitution of the assembly after the election?
The Constitution said 105 subsection 3. The person who is elected as a governor of the state shall, after being sworn in, issue a proclamation. It did not give him limited number of days after being sworn in, soon after being sworn in. So the limit of that constitutional power, if question should be done, settled by a court of law, not by a legislature. Let us be honest with ourselves and then face the issues the way they are. It is not within the competence of a chamber of a federal legislature to question a governor of a state issuance of proclamation by constitutional order. So if that is in contention, it should be by a court of competent jurisdiction, not by a chamber of the legislature.
How
that is the issue.
How also do you explain that we have 9 members sitting against 24 and 15 who have not been inaugurated? That constitutes an assembly, Edo State in this case.
If we go through the Constitution, this is another issue where we should all have a second look at our Constitution. Quorum for the House of Assembly is 1/3 of the members. So in this issue, 9 members will constitute a quorum for 24, a House of 24. It is only in removal of the Speaker or presiding officer that the Constitution specifically calls for 2/3 of the members, because we seem to have a confusion over these issues. So if 1/3 forms a quorum, and that 1/3 now constitutes a House of Assembly and inaugurated by proclamation, if the remaining members who are not sworn in as members, who are still members elect, have gone to the National Assembly, will they even have audience as members of that house?
So finally, how do you see them resolving this matter? How do you see them resolving this in one sentence, you can?
I think the Senate approach to this issue, going to the governor and maybe see the other factions involved, and then have a matured political solution to it, may be the quickest means to solve this problem than what is now going on within the Green Chamber. That is my own estimation of it.
All right. We appreciate your time, Mr. Emmanuel Anyegbenam, for your thoughts on this, a mature political solution, he said. Well, let's move on to another story, and this is the Presidential Election Tribunal. They've resumed hearing today at proceedings, and they've dismissed the application filed by Mr. Ambrose Owuru and the Hope Democratic Party seeking to amend its petition to enable them provide a list of additional witnesses, statements, and copies of documents it intends to rely on. In a unanimous ruling delivered by the chairman of the tribunal, Justice Mohammed Garba, says the application of the petitioners is an abusive court process that cannot be allowed to succeed, as the law allows petitioners file and amend petitions within 21 days after the declaration of resort. The tribunal added that it never granted an order allowing the petitioners amend their petition. The Presidential Election Tribunal has again dismissed the petition filed by the presidential candidate of the Hope Democratic Party, praying the tribunal to declare him as the president of Nigeria based on the referendum the party conducted on the 16th of February. Well, in the February and March general elections, logistics was a major challenge for the electoral umpire. Now, INEC, the Independent National Electoral Commission, they're promising that it will deliver a more effective logistics and operational plan for the governorship elections in Kogi and Bayelsa State. Speaking at a roundtable organized by the Electoral Institute in Abuja, the electoral body explains that review sessions will tackle most of the challenges experienced during the 2019 general election.
We believe that INEC was strongly challenged in its operation and logistics in the last election. And I think that if you speak to most Nigerians, we were actually shocked that with all the assurances that we got, for the election, we had to cancel, the election in February. So despite all the other successes that they have recorded, and which is the reason why we always call for the audience. Yeah, because something was fundamentally wrong, which we need to address before we can move on other elections.
I think what needs to be done is that we should make more use of retired people, retired INEC staff, retired directors in the federal ministries, people of proven integrity. They're all about. We need to expand the sources of our collation officers. We need to train through the years, not just at the election time. We need to identify friends of INEC that we can continuously train, engage, and make use of them at the election time.
On politics, the 9th National Assembly plans to pass the 2020 budget in December of this year. Is that wishful thinking? Find out when we return.